Hey friends, it's me, Christiana Gaudette. I am your Tarot Fairy Godmother. I am live on my YouTube channel. It's Thursday. That means it's time for the Tarot Topics Weekly Newsletter Recap. And first, I want to say thank you so much to Julie Rogan. I really appreciate the super chat. Super chats and super stickers are ways you can show your support for this broadcast. You can also support this channel by becoming a member. And if you're not a subscriber, please do subscribe. Make sure you hit the bell so you get notifications. And look to the descriptions for this video where you will see a link to subscribe to my newsletter and read this week's edition if you're not already a subscriber. You will also see a link to take class with me this Sunday. Please consider it. And you will also see a link if you happen to be in the New York area. I am going to be the guest of honor at Sasha Graham's Spirited Away on May 31st in Brooklyn. And so I'm taking a few appointments in the afternoon by appointment. Or you can see me that evening. You can sign up for my class that evening. There are only 10 spots. So do consider that as well if you happen to be in the New York area. Now, if you're anywhere, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, whatever, and you would like to host a party or come see me in Madison, Connecticut by appointment, then please do reach out to me to make those appointments. All right, my friends. As you are now aware, the topic of the newsletter, connecting with your inner child. So the way this all started was I had a client who specifically came to me wanting to do some inner child exploration. And what came up in that was just so profound. It really got me thinking. So now I'm doing a lot of work around tarot and the inner child. And in fact, that's what my short class at Spirited Away is going to be about. So I thought it would be fun to write about it for the newsletter as well. Now, the concept of the inner child really came to us first from Carl Jung, which is interesting because Jung also gave us the concept of the shadow. And he was really into archetypes, tarot archetypes, astrological archetypes. And so it all kind of connects nicely if you happen to be a tarot person. Concepts brought forth by Carl Jung can be very palatable for us, right? Because they all, in the end, deal with these archetypal concepts. So Carl Jung posited that, we all sort of have within us these different personas, the angry child, the rebellious teenager, the lonely child, the sad child, that kind of thing. And that we have relationships with people, putting them in these parenting roles. And I think there's a lot to be said there. The work that I'm looking at is probably less therapeutic than that to some extent, although it can be very healing. The idea that within us all is that person that we first were when we were first discovering the world and first figuring out who we were. And there was likely trauma there because there usually is to some extent. There was creativity there. There was exploration there. And if we can get back to some of that, we can remember who we are, we can heal from the trauma, we can recognize that our responses to people are sometimes coming from that inner child space rather than from a rational adult space. And sometimes we need to connect with the inner child just to have fun. And that's therapeutic too. So these are the things I've been thinking about. And I'm happy to answer any questions about the inner child here today. And, as part of developing this tarot technique, before I go further, let me just say, to Lisa, thank you so much, Lisa Harmon, for the super sticker. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you. So I think the whole key with inner child work, whether you're doing it in meditation, in journaling, in divination, with a therapist, however you're doing it, the whole key is about asking the right questions. Lisa said she made a spread for the inner child, and that's a thing, to design a spread or find a spread for the inner child is a great thing, and we recognize that in such a thing, each position asks a question. And it's all about asking the right question. And some of you have some very specific questions. Sometimes it's just, what does my inner child want me to know right now? Or how can I nurture my inner child at this time? Where does my inner child need healing? How is my inner child impacting me as an adult right now? These are all really interesting questions. Let's take a look at your questions. I will do as many readings as there happen to be here. I'll take you in order. And of course, I also want to shout out not just the people who helped out with super chats and super stickers. I sure do appreciate you. But also our members who make a monthly commitment to this channel. We can tell who they are because their names are in green, and I really, really appreciate our members. If you're not a member, consider becoming a member. Chara has been a member for 5 months. That's fabulous. All right, so let's start. Let's start with Claire C., first one I see here. Claire C., thank you so much for being a member here, and I know you've been traveling and you've been really good at staying present with us while you're traveling, so thank you so much for that. We appreciate it, and I hope your travels are going well or have gone well or whatever the case may be. This is an interesting one. As a mother, I often connect to my daughter's inner child, especially when she needs protection. I hear her call mom. I heard her call mom loudly last night. Was she actually reaching out for help across the miles? And there's a couple of things there, like was she consciously in her adult self wishing that she could talk with you? Or was her inner child spiritually reaching out to you because she needs you and doesn't know it consciously? There's a lot of questions there. So was she consciously thinking about you or wishing that she could talk to you? I think so. Was, that part of her, that subconscious inner child part of her also reaching out to you? Oh, heck yes. Should you respond to this? You got to be careful how you respond. Yes, but you should respond in a very even-handed way. Don't mention any of this. Just reach out and say, hey, how you doing? It's the best you can do here. And is she basically okay? She's got some stuff going on, but she's okay. Yeah. I think sometimes in real life she doesn't know how to ask for your help, or it's hard for her to ask for your help, and so she doesn't when she should. So I think that's part of it. Wendy Milano. Oh my goodness gracious. Hang on a minute. Thank you so much for the super sticker. You have been a member for 11 months. That is fabulous. Thank you so much for that. All right. Very good. Okay. The next request I see is from Martha Vink, my friend. Looking forward to seeing you soon. How do I help my inner child heal? I sometimes feel stuck at somewhere around 12 years old. So let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at what we need to know about 12-year-old you. And the answer is, it was 12 years old, I think, where either something happened to you or something happened within you that caused you to recognize that you would have to hide a part of yourself. And the trauma of that, the trauma of, sort of normal young person exploration in life, figuring out who you are, figuring out things, and then recognizing that there were parts of yourself that you needed to hide. I think that is really what the issue has been. And I think that's come into sort of frustration where like I shouldn't have to hide any part of myself and no one else should either. And where that has led you has been hard. It's kept you in this space of fear, anger, needing to speak out, which is not a bad thing, but the fear and the anger make it hard. And so the key, I think, is to affirm with your inner child that she never should have had to be afraid. She never should have had to be afraid. She never should have had to hide. And really affirm that with her, and I think that will help. Okay, White Magic Witch. How can I heal my inner child? And the answer is, I think somewhere as a child, you may have dealt with a lot of hypocrisy as a child, and you may have dealt with sort of the messaging that having a man in your life is very important, but also that men can treat you badly. And I feel like unlearning those lessons, telling your inner child that neither of those things are necessarily true, might be very helpful. Okay. Lisa Zuri, so nice to see you. Okay, the next question I see. Julie Rogan. And Julie, thank you again for the super sticker. What trauma is affecting my inner child most? And that could be trauma of now or trauma of then. And I think it's the most obvious. I think it's losses that you have had most recently that sort of confirm your childhood fears. But I also think that over the course of your life, losses have not been the hardest thing. The hardest thing has been the behaviors of some of the people living. And somewhere as a child, you were taught to tolerate that. You were trained for it. You were trained to tolerate the abuse of others. And I think it's unwinding those lessons is what's most important. Betty Flesher, so nice to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member here. What was the childhood trauma that I need to focus on healing? Honestly, I think it was about not being recognized for your intelligence. Whether that was a misogyny thing, or whether you hid your intelligence, or there were people around you that just didn't see it, I don't know. But not being seen as the smart person that you are. I think that's what you need. Your inner child is smart, and she knows it, and she needs to know it, and she needs other people to know it. All right. All right, so nice to see all of you today. Karen Winkle, thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. What is my inner child trying to say to me? Oh, I love that. Let's see what we got. Karen, your inner child is trying to say to you that you are a powerful adult and that a lot of your fears are almost like fears of not being seen, not being heard, being made bad, having other people think you are bad or punishing you. And whether those were childhood fears or childhood realities doesn't really matter. The thing is, those are fears that will still sort of rule you. And so your inner child would like not to be steering with that. Okay. Tales from the script. How do I connect to the free play nature of my inner child? I love that. Okay, you got to breathe. You got to meditate. You got to give yourself opportunity for play. Go skating, blow bubbles, color in a coloring book, Go dancing, whatever it is that will feel like that. Go camping. Whatever it is that will connect you to your childhood. Man, I had a moment of it kayaking recently, where I was like exploring this lake with a kayak all by myself. And I thought, man, this is exactly what my 8-year-old self always wanted to do and never did, never had the opportunity to. But this is what my 8-year-old self always wanted and is completely satisfied right now. So whatever it is your 8-year-old self wants to do, you go do it. Okay, Von Ray, so nice to see you. Thanks for being a member here. What does my inner child want? What a great question. As I said, man, it is all in the questions you ask. That is some good stuff. All right. Your inner child wants to be recognized for her good work. Your inner child wants to learn and be rewarded for that learning. Your inner child was probably a good student and wants to continue being a good student with appropriate rewards and recognition. Jackie Masters, so nice to see you. How can I connect, give voice to, and heal my inner child? Man, doesn't that sound like a 3-card spread? Let's try it. How can I connect, give voice to, and heal my inner child? Okay, connect. It might be through the meditation of exercise or walking or going someplace. It might even be a return to a place that you liked as a child would help make that connection, whether it's in your mind or in your body, either way. The thing is, I feel like as a child, when we talk about giving voice, I feel like as a child, you were told not to have a voice. I wonder if you were raised in a children should be seen and not heard kind of a family, or if there were a lot of family secrets or a lot of family things people didn't want to talk about. Because the things that your child really needs to give voice to are things you weren't supposed to talk about. And so it's kind of getting over that stigma. And then healing is to really recognize and acknowledge. To recognize and acknowledge her and her truth will give you the healing that you need. That's what I see there. All right. Chara Saddlemeyer, what childhood trauma should I focus on healing and what can I do to heal? Thank you for being a member. Really appreciate you. What childhood trauma should I focus on healing and what can I do to heal? Man, that feels like a 2-card spread. Shall we try it? I think there was something in your childhood that you really needed to change, where you may have asked for something to change, something to be different, and it was never different. As if you were not listened to. You were not listened to. And then I think as a grown-up, you had relationships with people who did the same thing, who promised change and didn't, and who didn't listen to you, who didn't take your concerns as valid. And I think the way to heal from those things is to acknowledge it and to acknowledge that you deserve to be heard, you deserve to be validated, and if you're requesting a change, then the people around you who care about you should do everything they can to make that change. Okay. So Clumsy Clairvoyance, we're doing inner child stuff this week. Okay, Lisa Harmon, thank you for helping out today and thank you for being a member. I would like to know what I need to heal my inner child. What you need is like full-on creativity. You need to do all the creative things with the joy of a child. And I think that would really, really help. Claire, today is your birthday. Oh my gosh, happy, happy birthday to you. Thanks for spending some of it with us. We really appreciate you. Wendy Milano, thank you so much for being a member. Thanks for helping out with the super sticker. What does my inner child need from me the most right now? And thanks for using a members only emoji. I appreciate that. What does my inner child need from me the most right now? knowledge that you can manifest whatever you want for the future, and that the things that you dreamt of as a child, like what's the line from that Joni Mitchell song, though the dreams have lost some grandeur coming true, that you have achieved a lot of what you wanted to achieve, and there is still so much more, so much that you can achieve. And beyond that, from a magical perspective, there is something here that as a child you understood, the magic of manifestation. And now you understand it better. How about that? Okay. JFT, how can I nurture my inner child? The Magician, by exploring new things, learning new things, communicating with your inner child. Have a conversation by journaling, by meditation, through divination. See what your inner child has to say. So I think learning more about these techniques would be very, very helpful for you. Oh, Claire, I am so sorry to see that. Oh, I'm so sorry. Leslie Jones, I carry a heavy weight from childhood as I had sexual trauma that still affects me to this day. What advice can you give me to help me heal? I'm already in therapy. Well done for being in therapy. That's really important. What else do you need to know? I think you need to know that healing is possible. I think that's the important thing. That you can't undo what was done, but healing is possible. And you can have healthy relationships going forward in the future. And just to know that. Linda Armstrong, so nice to see you. Thanks for being a member here. I have no idea what happened to my inner child. She's a pain in the ass. But really, what happened? That's a loaded question. Probably lots of things. Oh, interesting. I feel like it would be good for you to do some deep work to uncover some stuff. There are definitely some things that you were as a child told to not repeat, to not think about, that you saw but didn't see. Definitely some family secrets, whether it's things you knew or things that happened to you, and it would be worth unraveling all that and figuring it out. Nesty. So, Nesty, thanks so much for being a member here. So you have a 12-year-old daughter and you want to help her not have heavy childhood trauma. I know the more I stress about this, I'm probably making it worse. It's hard. We will probably all traumatize our children in some way. If you can feed them and keep them safe and love them, you've done a lot, Not shame them. That's helpful. In terms of, how to help your child, validate her. She's pretty deep. She feels a lot of things. Validate her feelings. Even if what she's feeling is based on something not true, don't belittle it. Hear it, listen to it, and work through it. Aria Wilson, nice to see you. What do I need to know about my inner child? Very good. I think what you need to know about your inner child, Aria, is that as a child, you didn't get what you needed, and you were sort of taught that you shouldn't need it anyway. And that feels like what you need to unwind, that your needs are normal and appropriate, and it's okay to ask for what you need. Baby Cakes, how can I make my inner child tough instead of soft, weak, and vulnerable? Man, in my opinion, you're asking the wrong question. I don't think your inner child needs to toughen up. I think that your inner child should have been better protected when you were young. And I think what you have to do, the real answer, is to allow yourself to be a strong adult and allow your inner child to be a child. I think that's really the key. And I think, if you're talking about oversensitivity, that you as an adult are overly sensitive and take things personally when you shouldn't, that's really a conversation to have with your adult self. But it probably is based on childhood hurts. You're absolutely right. Yeah, there you go, baby cakes. I connect with my inner child when I swing on the playground. There you go. Okay, thank you all for the feedback. Really appreciate it. Oh, oh Wendy, thank you so much. And thank you, everyone, for the feedback. I really appreciate it. Zuri, thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. How can I incorporate my inner child more in my live streams and social media? I would say, do not be afraid to perform. You know, like there's that, like, you know, like every little kid would be on the stage doing, you know, whether we were good at it or not, man, we were playing music, we were dancing, we were singing, and we were enjoying it. Be that. Look, Mom, no hands. Seriously. Hey, Sarah, nice to see you. Glad you like the newsletter. You are often told to stop being so sensitive. How has this affected me and what can I do about it? So, it's a lack of validation for your feelings that I believe goes on to this day. And it causes you to make your feelings less important, or at certain times to almost overinflate in compensation, to overinflate your feelings. So it's about learning to have a normal, healthy relationship with your feelings. I think that's what it is. Okay. Lydia, nice to see you. Thanks for being here. I always try this. Mephistopheles. Did I do it? Did I get it? Okay. How can I heal my inner child? Honestly, I think it's about giving her some of the things she wants. Really, if she wants to play, let her play. If she wants to indulge a little, let her indulge. If she wants a bubble bath, give her a bubble bath. Seriously, indulge a little. Not in a way that's harmful, just in a way that's a little indulgent. Okay. All right. Lisa says, I know I need to start being creative. The problem is getting started. And the answer to that is the problem to getting started is trusting yourself. Trusting yourself and trusting the process. So friends, I want to thank you all so much for being here. Again, if you have not read the newsletter, please do subscribe. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do that as well. I really appreciate all of you. I should be back tomorrow with the Friday weekly wrap-up. Definitely check out my links here. Check out my link tree. Reach out to schedule, all the good things. Come to class on Sunday. Would love to see you. The link for that is right in the description here. So get your ticket to come see me in class, either in person in Palm City or online on Zoom, Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. My friends, I want to thank you so much for all of your support, for being here. I will look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.